So you are working on the feather Christmas tree
Yes, I've got the main part of it done. Let me pick it up.
and black and white. That is looking very cool.
It's actually navy blue
Navy blue, okay. And
and
gold?
gold and a pale gold. You can't actually tell the difference. There's two color threads, but you can't really see the difference.
Okay.
Um, so I've got this all done, and then I realized that it doesn't actually come with its own quilting.
It does not, but you have done the digitizing and design masterclass, so you are fully equipped with everything that you need to know.
Yes, I'm quite lazy. I like to have it all prepared for me. Also, it was a time thing, but I've got some time over this weekend, so I thought I'd double check. And I actually thought I could probably pinch some of the background quilting from one of the other patterns. I've got, the heart one, and see if I can weld it all together.
Yes. So what I was actually having a look at what some of the collections that you've got, and you've got the With All My Heart. That might actually be a little bit challenging. You've got Ocean Dreams, which has I'm pretty certain it has a full panel. So what
Right.
you would
Oh, yes.
what you could do, let's actually bring up the software. Let me just get it started here, which hopefully will not take too long. And wouldn't you know, it wants me to sign in again. Meaning. Okay, this is where we realize that I can spell. Whether or not I can remember the password correctly is another story. It's coming along. Whilst we're waiting for this, how is your 3D mini quilt? Because
It's
I
all
see that
done. Yep.
on your sofa as well.
It's all finished.
Beautiful.
So I'm really pleased with it.
Awesome. It's
Yes.
looking fabulous.
Yeah, I really enjoyed doing that. I did try and do the your nose hand sew binding, but
Hmm.
what I eventually did was because I think I used a piping that's a bit thin, stitching in the ditch was getting messy, so I actually hand sewed in the ditch.
Okay.
Because
That that that's determination for you there.
I like hand sewing, so it's no great challenge for me. But I'm really pleased with it.
So
My
what
sister
kind of what
taught
kind of cord did you use in the
I
piping?
just use a cord that I use for stringing blinds. So it's actually too thin for this. It's only a zero point 0.3 millimeters, zero point 0.3 or zero point 0.4 millimeters. So it's not very wide.
Okay. Yeah, because
If
I
it,
usually use number 3 crochet cotton.
yeah, it's quite thin. It's the when you have blinds, it's the cord that runs up and down the backs of Roman blinds and things. It's
That should work.
yeah, I
It's
use quite
not
a thin one.
it okay. Yeah.
So I'll use a thicker one next time.
Yeah. Number 3 crochet cotton I find to be ideal. Number 10, which is a small crochet cotton, I find that starts getting fiddly.
I think this was probably the equivalent of a number 10. It's just I buy blind cord in reels of 1,000 meters because that's my job. So I'm using
Right.
it all the time. So I thought I'll just use what I've got.
Absolutely. Yeah. Okay, let me see. We are looking for actually, okay, so let me start out by sharing my screen here. Can you see my screen?
Yeah, I can, yes.
Okay, good. So, I'm actually going to start out with a new template, a new document or a new design. Let's turn the grid off. We don't particularly need that. The first thing that I would do is actually build the feathered Christmas tree in the software.
Okay.
So I'm going to insert the designs. So let's see, we are going to, where are we going to find feathered Christmas tree? It's going to be way, way, way down here. Okay. So is that would be pretty amazing if that one is actually the whole
Oh,
thing
yes.
all at once. That is the whole thing all at once. So there is a design that
Good.
gives you the entire thing, um, and it has the vertical and horizontal center line is probably the only one that you really need to um, use, although it has the same lines marked that you should have marked on your background
Yes.
fabric, right?
Yes, I've got
So
those.
having got that, then you can bring in some quilting designs. So insert design. So I know that you have the Ocean Dreams.
Yeah, I do. Yes.
And so let's find um did we put it in?
I can see it on the left. Oh, I could see
Oh,
it on
it's
the
right
left-hand
there.
side. No.
Um Quilting. So the large, which machine have you got? You got an eight series, right?
790.
790. Okay. So you can fit this whole thing in one in one hooping. So it's
Right.
going to drop in like that, and I'm going to rotate it 90 degrees. And let's put that. I'm going to hide. Well, first of all, I'm going to ungroup this lot, and I'm going to hide the actual tree for now, but I do want to keep the grid. And I'm going to align this and this if you can do this on a bigger um
Yes.
screen, then you will be good. One of the things about that I find really interesting about Hatch is that even though I've turned the grid off, it's still trying to snap to the grid.
Okay.
So we're going to just turn that off, and it's you can't nudge when it's already trying to attach to a grid. I'm having a hard time nudging it right there as well for now, but
Oh, it's
okay,
fine.
so we're going to put that there. Do you by any chance know off the top of your head what the dimensions are of the inside portion of the quilt?
I do not. No. Let me just quickly get a tape measure.
Because we're going to need to know what those dimensions are, and we're going to create a box that is
It's 18 wide inches by 22 and a half, 22 and a quarter.
okay. So, bearing also now, does that go up to the squares or
Yes, that's the size of the back panel before
okay?
it.
Because interestingly enough, if you look at the way this design is sitting, um, it is. more or less the exact right size. Um, so one of the cool things about this particular design is that it fits together. It was designed
Yes,
so that it fits together, and you can put as many side by side as you want, and you can also put as many up and down as you want. So let's take that one, and I'm going to push that up to the top because that's the outside boundary of the quilt. So we'll take that one and that one. We'll actually stick these up to the top, and we're going to just copy and paste, and they fit pretty well tucked into each other as you're
yeah,
going up and down as well. So the thing is going to be to determine how many of them you want, and overshot that a little bit. Um, we've got this space down here, so it's big enough that I would say it would be worthwhile copying that and then eliminating the excess down at the bottom, right?
I've
Um,
got you, yes.
which should be pretty straightforward. All yeah, you should be able to just take that off the bottom, and then let's zoom in so that we see this whole thing. We'll put all of the quilting up to the top. So now you can unhide everything, and your job is essentially to get rid of all of the quilting that's underneath
Underneath the applique.
applique. So
Uh,
my favorite trick for doing this is I usually actually take the triple stitch, um, and if we the outer triple stitch, if we can figure out which should be that one. Let me see. No, not that one. That's what? Oh, that one there. Um, that's the outer triple stitch. So I'm going to copy it. I'm going to paste it. I'm going to make it usually an obnoxious color that stands out from everything else. And then I'm going to make it into a satin stitch that is 1/4 inch wide. So you'll have 1/8 inch from the triple to the outside and an 1/8 inch in. So that's going to give you 1/8 inch around the applique. I find that that is not too big, but big enough to make sure that you're not hitting any appliques. Does that make sense?
yes, it does.
Okay, good. So now it's literally a case of taking each section. Let's ungroup that. Let's actually take this little bit here. We'll zoom in on it. I want to zoom to selected. And with the candle looking up here, you probably want to do the same kind of a thing. Make it into a satin stitch. It probably needs to be just a little bit bigger than 1/4 inch, maybe even 0.4, because you want about 1/4 inch around the outside. Okay, and the candles,
Yes,
for the triple stitch, we're going from the center. For the candle width, we're going from the edge. So you're literally going to take each section of quilting and eliminate everything that is under. So a lot of it you'll be able to get rid of, fairly significant size chunks at a time. And then you're going to want to zoom in and do some tidying up. So like here, I'm like, I probably can keep that little curvy bit intact.
Yeah.
Here, I want to um, stop that there, bearing in mind that this particular swirl is coming around here. So you probably want to get rid of that bit. Um, that can go a tiny bit further up. That can go a tiny bit further down and change it into a corner node. It gets a little bit interesting when when you have curves like this. Probably the easiest thing is just to pop a node so that it follows the edge
Yes.
of your boundary here. Let's see, we've got a node there. And the
A
same with that one.
little bit of
And you,
homework to do over the weekend.
yeah, it's really a case of just playing with your nodes and tidying up so that your quilting doesn't hit.
Yes. I had in my mind, I was thinking this is the sort of thing to do, but I hadn't realized that in the Ocean Dreams there was a whole block that I could just copy and copy. Um,
Yes.
but I can see now how to do it, and that makes life a lot easier because I'm no good at freehand quilting, um, or ruler quilting.
Yeah, grabbing any of the quilting designs, um, and this is probably the easiest way to do it. Now, it is a little bit on the time consuming side, just getting the edges really nice, but
Yes,
I think it's going to be worth it. If
absolutely.
incidentally, if you for anybody who wants to make the feathered Christmas tree and you haven't done the applique first, you can always quilt the background and then do the applique on top because it's going to be a wall hanging, right? So it doesn't
Yeah.
matter if it's got a false back on it.
Yes, yeah, it's going to be
Not
a
going to
war.
help you because you've already done the applique already, but
Yes. And I'll also I can work out how to do designs in the squares and on the borders.
yes,
I
you
was
could.
looking at it today thinking, oh, how am I going to do this?
Well, you could
Sister looked
potentially
at it
pick
and
up.
said it's not quilting, it's engineering, she reckons, this sort of work.
Yeah, yeah. You can potentially pick up any of this and any segment of this border, depending on how big the bit you want to fill in is. So like this bit here is
We
a
can take out,
standalone,
yes.
and you can, repeat that as many times as you need to. If you want to look into any of the other so you have Petal Power Flower Garden. That is also going to have I think well absolutely I know for certain it's got some complete blocks.
I'll have a look through. I have used the circles. I did some glasses cases, eyeglasses cases, and I used the circles to quilt, made up just a block. So I do know how to do it. Um, but I'm glad you showed me that again. It's reminded me how to take away the extra stitching.
Okay,
Um,
good. Yeah.
I feel
One
confident that I can do it now that I've had it pointed out to me again.
good. Yeah. It's more time consuming, tediously time consuming than anything, but you can typically get rid of a whole bunch of nodes all at once and then just tidy the edges up.
Yeah. And once it's done, because then if I do this design again in another colorway, I've got it all set up. So that's
Yes, yes,
perfect. Thank
absolutely.
you very much. Thank you for that.
You are welcome. Okay. It's good to see you.
Yeah, I missed the last meeting because I had family staying and I thought I can't really sort of say, hold, you go and finish dinner, I'm going to go to the Zoom call.
Well, you can.
Yeah, I could, but didn't.
Well, I'm glad you made it today.
Yeah.